your sounding board.
Two silkworms had a race, and they both wound up in a tie. Two hats had a race, but one of them went on ahead. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, this is my sense of humor. When I was little, my favorite joke was, what do you do when you're inside an elephant? You run around till you're all pooped out. My parents gave me a joke book and I memorized every joke in it. I had a photographic memory for jokes. Too bad it never fully developed. I got to junior high and I realized something changed. People didn't always laugh at my jokes. Sometimes people would laugh. Sometimes I'd get the courtesy laugh. Sometimes people just didn't get them. The corny jokes just don't really carry over when you have to explain them. But the fourth response was sometimes people would actually get angry. They'd say, that's really bad. Stop it. Well, my sense of humor hasn't really changed since junior high. I still get a kick out of saying every single time I go to the dentist, I say, why am I getting the brush off? I know the drill. Well, I know the drill with jokes. Some people like them, and some people don't. But tonight we're going to talk about how I have used corniness to my advantage. I've gotten out of going to a lot of funerals because I tell people I'm just not a morning person. I don't do windows because they're a pain. A true story, I got pulled over for speeding one time. I was going 53 and a 35, and I told the officer I was dyslexic. He let me go, for real. And I thought that was a really good cop-out. I'm surprised he could hear me though, because I was talking almost a mile a minute. I had a job interview one time, and the interviewer just said, tell me a joke. And in that second, all the times that people made fun of me, said, stop telling those jokes, I thought, yes, it's paying off. So I pulled out one of my favorites. What do you call a deer with no eyes? No idea. What do you call a deer with no eyes and no legs? It's still no idea. So she laughed and I was offered the job. And I'm just so glad that I didn't freeze up like a deer in headlights. Now to advertise my counseling business, I have a website and I post some little jokes and puns on there. Now don't get me wrong, I take my work very seriously and I believe in mental health. But I do this to help people feel more at ease. Some of my favorites are, depression is a dark room where negatives develop. Just because your blood type is B negative doesn't mean that you have to be. Clean up on aisle 9. Someone just spilled their guts. I've had clients tell me that when they're looking at websites and they have a heavy heart and they're thinking about going to a counselor, they really appreciated that I had a good, corny sense of humor. I also use corniness as sort of a litmus test to figure out how well I'm going to get along with people. Because I'm inclined to be laid back. Now, if you don't get that joke, we're probably not going to get along very well. There are some people who just don't get corny jokes, and some people who are too serious. They think they're too good for corniness. But I think that people who get too big for their britches will be exposed in the end. So corniness can help you get out of bad situations. It can help you professionally, and it can also help you with picking your friends. But where else does corniness come in handy? And Toastmasters! One time I had a table topics question asking my thoughts about euthanasia. I said, I don't know. I guess they're the same as youth anywhere else in America. Country. I had a question once about communism. I don't know anything about communism. I got really lousy marks in history class. Whenever I'm a grammarian, I remind people that using a double clutch is just kind of so-so. But using a double negative is a no-no. So next time you're faced with the issue, this joke is really corny, should I tell it, should I not? You should go for it because you can always use it to your advantage. jokes can go over one of three ways. They can go over like the skunk that walked in the bar and said, "Where'd everybody go?" They can go over like the skeleton that walked into a bar and had a drink and it went right through them. Some people just don't get them. But more often than not, good jokes go over like the mushroom that walked into the bar. Because everybody loves a fun guy.
That is great.